All right, I need you to just picture this. You're surfing the internet right now, maybe watching this video, scrolling through social media, or buying something online. What you're seeing, what you're interacting with, is just the surface. It's the tip of an absolutely gigantic digital iceberg. This visible part of the internet is called the surface web, and it's where search engines like Google can find everything. But beneath that surface lies an ocean. This vast, largely unindexed realm is known as the deep web. Think of it as all the pages that aren't publicly linked or indexed by search engines. Your private emails, your online banking portal, subscription content, cloud storage. It's perfectly legitimate and it's enormous. Then there's the truly unsettling part. Tucked away in the deepest, darkest corners of the deep web is the dark web. This is the digital underworld. To even access it, you need specialized software like the Tor browser, which scrambles your internet traffic, bouncing it through layers of encrypted servers around the globe. It's designed for absolute anonymity, to make you virtually untraceable. And while some use it for legitimate privacy reasons, its true, horrifying appeal lies in one thing. It's the perfect sanctuary for unseen crimes. This is where the digital black market thrives. Imagine marketplaces where you can buy almost anything imaginable: illegal drugs, weapons, stolen identities, counterfeit currency, even human beings. These transactions are often conducted using untraceable cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin or Monero. There are forums where hitmen advertise their services, child predators exchange horrifying content, and cybercriminals plot large-scale attacks. It's a place where morality is non-existent and anonymity is king. The sheer anonymity, the layers of encryption, and the routing through countless servers make investigating crimes on the dark web a monumental, almost impossible challenge for law enforcement. It's a constant, frustrating game of digital cat and mouse, turning every case rooted here into an unsolved mystery. And that's precisely where our story begins. In the real world, a seemingly random event occurs: a shocking disappearance, a brutal murder, or a devastating cyber attack. Police are baffled. There are no witnesses, no fingerprints, no clear motive. The case goes cold. But then, investigators uncover a chilling truth. The entire incident was meticulously planned and orchestrated, not on the streets, but deep within the hidden corners of the dark web. It was a crime born in the shadows, executed without a trace. With the dark web established as a true digital underworld, imagine the unthinkable happening. A crime not born of passion or immediate opportunity, but chillingly orchestrated through anonymous clicks and encrypted messages. This is the story of Iris Coleman, a fictional name for this narrative, a bright, promising university student who seemingly vanished without a trace from her campus apartment in late 2024. Local police were baffled. No forced entry, no struggle, just a half-packed suitcase and an eerie silence. It was the kind of disappearance that makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up. A complete mystery. What the investigators didn't know at first was that Iris's fate had been sealed days earlier, not on the streets, but deep within a hidden corner of the dark web. Her disappearance wasn't random. It was the chilling fulfillment of a silent transaction. The orchestrator was known only by the moniker Ghost Protocol, an anonymous account on a notoriously exclusive dark web forum specializing in illicit services. Ghost Protocol was a criminal broker, a cold, efficient middleman connecting those who desired heinous acts with those willing to perform them. In this case, Ghost Protocol had received a contract for a non-fatal kidnapping, an order for someone to disappear for a period without a trace. The target, Iris Coleman. The motive was still unclear, buried beneath layers of encryption. The order was chillingly simple: a specific date, a precise location, and Iris's daily routine, all meticulously laid out. Payment was made in Monero, a cryptocurrency even more untraceable than Bitcoin, ensuring the transaction was virtually impossible to follow. Ghost Protocol then posted the job on a private board, and it was accepted by another anonymous user, Shadowhand, a phantom figure advertising expertise in discreet removals. The execution of the crime was chillingly professional. Shadowhand, operating in the physical world but guided by the digital instructions, meticulously stalked Iris for days, learning her patterns. There were no messy struggles, no dramatic confrontations. On that late 2024 evening, as Iris returned to her apartment, Shadowhand moved with chilling efficiency, subduing her without a sound. Within minutes, she was gone, leaving behind no fingerprints, no witnesses, and no forced entry. The operation was designed to look like a voluntary departure, or simply a girl who vanished. Local law enforcement, working in the real world, found themselves hitting brick wall after brick wall. How do you investigate a crime when there's no physical evidence, no apparent motive, and the victim seems to have simply ceased to exist? The case of Iris Coleman quickly turned into a perplexing cold case, shrouded in an impenetrable digital fog. What they didn't realize was that the true mastermind, the one who pulled the strings, wasn't physically present at all. They were a ghost in the machine, an invisible operator hidden beneath the code, leaving catastrophe in their wake. With Iris Coleman's disappearance officially a cold case and conventional leads going nowhere, the FBI, working with international partners, suspected something far more sinister than a typical kidnapping. The sheer lack of evidence, the meticulous cleanup, it all pointed to a crime orchestrated by someone with access to tools beyond the physical realm. This was when the case was handed to the Bureau's elite cybercrimes unit, a specialized team of digital forensic investigators, the Deep Web Hunters. Their mission: to plunge into the abyss of the dark web and trace a ghost. Their work was a relentless, high-stakes game of hide and seek. The challenges were immense. Imagine trying to find a single drop of ink in an ocean of black. Every communication on the dark web is heavily encrypted, bounced through layers of servers globally, making traditional IP tracing virtually impossible. Payments are made in cryptocurrencies like Monero, designed specifically for anonymity, leaving no financial paper trail. It's like trying to follow a whisper across continents. The investigators had to infiltrate hidden forums, pose as potential clients, and navigate a treacherous landscape of illicit marketplaces, all while maintaining their own anonymity to avoid becoming targets themselves. It was an unsolved mystery wrapped in layers of code. For weeks, the team hit brick walls. The sheer volume of data, the sophisticated encryption, the constant cat-and-mouse game with digital adversaries, it was mentally and emotionally draining. They were constantly exposed to the internet's darkest corners, a creepy and unsettling reality that few in the outside world could ever comprehend. They pored over every minute detail, every public-facing statement from Iris's digital life, searching for any subtle connection that could have led her to this dark underworld. Then came the unexpected clue, a tiny thread in the vast digital tapestry. During a routine scan of old, unsecured servers that had previously hosted dark web content, now offline but with residual data, one of the forensic analysts discovered a fragment of a conversation log. It was heavily corrupted, but with advanced reconstruction software, they managed to piece together enough to make out a specific, highly unusual phrase used by Ghost Protocol from the earlier transaction, along with a timestamp. This phrase, combined with new, highly sophisticated blockchain analysis, allowed them to trace a fractional, forgotten Monero transaction back to a very specific, though temporary, server. This led them to a tiny, almost imperceptible digital fingerprint. A brief moment when the Shadowhand account, likely the perpetrator who physically abducted Iris, had briefly logged in from a non-Tor IP address, a single momentary lapse in their otherwise flawless anonymity. It was a needle in a haystack, but it was enough. This IP address, though quickly disguised, provided a geographical region. The digital ghost now had a shadow in the real world, and the true extent of the strange, dark, and mysterious network behind Iris Coleman's disappearance began to terrifyingly emerge. The hunt was no longer just in the code, it was now on the ground. The partially traced IP address, a fleeting digital shadow, led the FBI's cyber crimes unit to a seemingly unassuming apartment building in a sprawling city hundreds of miles from Iris Coleman's campus. This was the suspected lair of Shadowhand, the physical perpetrator who had abducted Iris. The operation to apprehend him was meticulously planned, a multi-agency, cross-state effort, showcasing the complex coordination required to bridge the gap between the digital underworld and the real world. The raid was swift and precise. Inside the apartment, they found not a hardened criminal, but a quiet, almost reclusive man in his early 30s named Ethan Vance, fictional name. He was a brilliant, self-taught programmer, and surprisingly, a seemingly normal individual with no prior violent criminal record. His apartment was filled with high-end computer equipment, multiple monitors displaying lines of code, and an unsettling collection of surveillance gear. Vance was the ghost in the machine, the invisible operator who translated dark digital commands into terrifying real-world actions. Under intense interrogation, Vance, initially cold and uncooperative, eventually broke. He confessed to Iris Coleman's abduction and, chillingly, to her murder, which had occurred shortly after her capture. His confession led them to a shallow, unmarked grave in a remote wooded area, bringing a tragic, definitive end to the unsolved mystery of Iris Coleman's disappearance. The ghastly motive behind his actions, however, was far more disturbing than simple financial gain. Vance claimed he was driven by a deep-seated misanthropy, a twisted belief that he was cleansing the world of individuals he deemed unworthy. Actions he rationalized through the anonymity and dark philosophies he absorbed from the deep web forums. He wasn't just a hitman, he was a self-appointed digital executioner. But the revelations didn't stop there. Forensic analysis of Vance's devices uncovered a vast, interconnected network of dark web activity. Iris Coleman's case, horrifying as it was just one node in a larger, even more creepy web of criminal enterprises. They found evidence of multiple contracts for similar non-fatal abductions, as well as indications of human trafficking operations being facilitated through the same dark web forums. It became clear that Ghost Protocol, the anonymous broker who had hired Vance, was part of a much larger, global criminal organization. The public reaction was immediate and visceral. The story of Iris Coleman, kidnapped and murdered by a man hired through the dark web, sent shockwaves across the nation. It exposed the terrifying reality that the internet's hidden layers were not just for anonymous browse, but were active breeding grounds for truly strange, dark, and mysterious crimes that could bleed into real lives. It was a stark, horrifying reminder that the digital world had a terrifying underbelly, and the people operating within it were not just anonymous usernames, but real, dangerous individuals. Justice had begun to be served for Iris, but the chilling question remained: how many other unseen crimes had been orchestrated, and how many other anonymous actors were still operating beneath the code? The resolution of Iris Coleman's case, while a victory for justice, was also a sobering reminder that the dark web remains a formidable, constantly evolving frontier for crime. Even with Ethan Vance behind bars and Ghost Protocol's network partially disrupted, the battle against dark web crime is a never-ending war. Criminals operating in this anonymous digital realm are incredibly adaptable. When one platform is shut down, 3 more emerge. When one encryption method is cracked, a new one takes its place. The unsolved mystery of who truly controls these vast illicit networks continues to loom large. The toll of these unseen crimes is immense. For victims like Iris, the physical and psychological scars are devastating, often permanent. For society, it erodes trust in the very infrastructure of the internet, making everyone feel a little more vulnerable. The chilling ease with which heinous acts can be ordered and executed from behind a screen highlights a fundamental flaw in our interconnected world: the ability for true evil to hide behind layers of code, making it a constant, creepy threat. This brings us to the ever-present danger and the critical importance of digital vigilance. The dark web isn't just a distant, abstract concept. It's a marketplace where stolen identities, financial details, and even personal photos from data breaches are bought and sold. Your personal information, seemingly secure in your online accounts, could find its way onto these black markets, making you a potential target. It's a terrifying true story playing out every single day. The complex nature of dark web crime also underscores the absolute necessity of international cooperation. Cases like Iris Coleman's often involve perpetrators, victims, and digital infrastructure spread across multiple countries, demanding unprecedented collaboration between law enforcement agencies globally. It's a borderless crime, requiring a borderless response to bring justice. In the end, the dark web's black market continues to cast a long, strange, dark, and mysterious shadow over our digital lives. While stories like Iris Coleman's offer a glimmer of hope that even the most hidden crimes can be exposed, they also serve as a stark warning. The digital underworld is a vast, unpoliced wilderness, constantly evolving and filled with horror stories waiting to unfold. The fight is far from over. It's a chilling reminder that beneath the code, dark secrets persist, waiting for their next victim.